And we're back. Episode 3 of Morning Shootaround. Welcome back, everybody. It's the regular cast of characters. It's Tyler Pace, Christian Del Bianco, and our very special guest and our first ever non-redheaded guest in Reid Bowering. Reid, welcome to the show. And Morning Shootaround, of course, brought to you by the Performance Center. And for those of you watching on the YouTubes, you may be able to see a couple of brand new sponsors over top of the couch. So that means we got some ads to read here, ladies and gentlemen. So, episode 3 of the Morning Shootaround is brought to you by and sponsored by Panam Contracting. If you are looking for top-notch flooring that you can trust, Panam Contracting has you covered. Whether it's your home or business, they specialize in both commercial and residential flooring across British Columbia. What sets them apart is their reliability, quality, and speed. Panam Contracting gets the job done right, and they'll get it done fast. If you need flooring that looks great and lasts, find their email in the description below and receive your quote today. Talk about fast. Panam Contracting, your go-to flooring experts, as well as Extreme Threads. If you're local in the area, you know them very well. With over 15 years of industry-leading customer service, a local family-owned and operated business, Extreme is your one-stop shop for all your business and team apparel needs, specializing in custom sublimated team uniforms. Excuse me, I'm trying to do this all in one take. Worn by team and clubs around the world. Contact them today to customize your team with Extreme. Pacer, you probably have some experience with both of these companies. What can you tell the folks about them?
Well, first of all, that was
sick promo.
Almost done in one breath. Almost done in one breath.
This is why we keep Tino around. Yeah. Professional.
That was good. Yeah, Panam Contracting. They did all the flooring in the gym. They did the turf. They put the rubber down. They did the vinyl in our showroom area there. As the ad read says, like, it's done fast. It's done the right way. Like, you come in here, the floor looks good. The turf, to be frank, is probably nicer than most NLL arenas. So it's legit stuff. And then Extreme Threads, I've been using their pennies and some of their other items like bags for our PCL program. I don't know how many years now, 5-6 years. They're right down the street. You can go talk to them. You can go into their showroom, which has so many things. So they're personable. They want to help lacrosse grow, and you know, they do it fast, just the same way that Panam does. So 2 amazing sponsors. As you can see, there's still one more Rent Me sign behind me. So if you're interested in sponsoring, there's at least 1, but probably 4 more slots available. Hopefully the quality of these things turns out well. But we'll see. We'll see what it looks like.
First week.
So
we'll
from here. Yeah, appreciate all the support. Appreciate the sponsorship, obviously. And really just appreciate right now the following that we're getting. You know, we talked about it last night, and we're looking at some of the view counts on our YouTube channel, on Spotify, some of the listeners. Like, it's really cool to see this thing growing. And I think, to be honest, it's surprising Christian, because he wasn't a believer, and now it's for real. So welcome to the show, pal.
I think, like, a big thing too, just with the sponsorship, it's awesome that we have businesses that we believe in, like we have experience using, and we get to promote their product, right? So,
and they believe in us too.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we're just pumping out like, who's that guy behind us? We have experience. We would refer them to you. So yeah, hopefully we can continue that trend.
All right, well, let's get to our guest for the episode, Mr. Reid Bowering. And Reader, a couple of your former junior teammates here, how prepared are you today to get grilled by these guys a little? Because there's rumors going around right now that allegedly your basketball abilities are pretty subpar, from what I heard.
I don't know who's saying that, but whoever said it, I know mine are better than theirs. So
it's not saying much.
No, it's not. It was a defensive battle. No,
a lot of rebounding.
No
yeah. You know what? Like, once we were going full court, and then we limited it to half court, so you didn't have the breakaways. It was over. It was the last 10 points were about 68 minutes long.
Yeah.
I'm sure the NLL people that are keeping their eyes on you, Delbs, are happy to see that you're keeping your cardio up by playing half-court basketball.
Yeah. We burned a lot of calories, actually.
Yeah.
Did you play today?
No, yesterday.
Oh, nice. How long were you able to run for?
we played 30 minutes. 30 minutes of like actual playing time, though.
I mean, we
We
took
played
no
to
break.
we played
to
to, like,
13.
13. You won't tell me it took an hour. To 13. It wasn't an hour.
It was
were
30
bad.
Played
I
to
won-
13. It took a while.
I
We
won,
played for an
okay, I
hour.
won 13-8, and we took like no breaks, and on my
Yeah.
watch, it took like an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, we played 21 twice too.
Oh yeah.
That's part of that, Reid.
That's true.
All right.
So
Uh,
points per minute.
Well,
It's low. It's low.
Reader, I want to get into I want to start with some field lacrosse stuff with you before we move on to the NLL and some of your box career numbers. Because just looking up your like some background on you before we got in here, I was looking up your career stats at Drexel University, and just to go down a few of them, you're currently the second highest scoring or single season scorer in Drexel history, one shy of Ben McIntosh.
Mm-hmm.
You tied Drexel's record for career goals with 147. You're tied with Jeff Miller, who set that record in his career that spanned across 1974 to 1977. You're sixth all time in school history with 184 career points. Like some pretty unbelievable numbers. And then when people look to your like box lacrosse career, you're listed as a defender. Like, talk about your days at Drexel, like you putting up these outrageous numbers the entire time you're there.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It was fun scoring goals. I miss it, to be honest. But yeah, it was just a great experience, a great team. I just was able to use my Canadian skill set there really well. And there's a lot of guys from Coquitlam, like our hometown here, who went there before me and kind of set the tone, and they knew that they could use Canadians well. So I got put in a really good situation, and a lot of great players around me who helped those numbers out.
Not much of a passer though.
No.
147 goals.
How many is that?
186
ISO
points.
Joe.
How many
ISO
Quick
Joe.
math,
I
it's
can't
like
do that math.
30 something.
I know, dude.
It's field. There's no
But-
second assists.
Yeah,
He's a hockey
but
guy.
honest to God, I think I have good vision, but my boys couldn't.
Just
bury
no one
what-
was open.
No.
No one was
Yeah,
open.
just slandering
I
his team.
did-
My boys couldn't
Yeah.
bury. Just pass me the ball.
Marshall King's watching this, like, man, screw this guy.
Yeah, he has just rebounds in front of the net.
Marshall
Goal.
King, not a shooter.
Well, the thing I find so interesting is with you putting up these insane numbers in your university career. In like I mentioned, like in box, going back to junior as well in the NLL, you primarily play defense. And then when we talk about your PLL playing days, like I mean, we'll talk about the contract you just signed, you re-upped with New York, but you're playing a midfielder role. Like you're kind of playing a little bit of everything. What do you consider yourself in terms of position?
I guess, a little bit of everything. Like I personally I like playing offense a lot. I like playing defense a lot. So I'm just happy to do whatever. Obviously to help the team in any scenario. But I think there's always, like, I grew up playing offense. There's always a little bit of that kind of in the back of my mind, like scoring goal. There's nothing like scoring goals. So even on defense, I'm thinking about, hopefully scoring a goal.
How many, like, throwback, but in intermediate, how many goals did you have the 1 year? I feel like it was above 70.
Did you lead the league in points?
Yeah,
In
he
intermediate?
dislocated his jaw and came back and tucked 2 more goals.
It's like Kanye.
Our, our poor
Humble.
trainer, shout out Raymond.
Raymond.
It's like
Where's
his
he at?
first lacrosse game ever. Reid dislocates his jaw, and Reid's just staring at him. Like,
So I'll hear. So what happened? I go into the corner and get like pummeled. I'm in the corner. There's a guy on top, and I'm in the corner, like my jaw's in the corner, and I feel it slowly like that. And then I get up, and it's not going back. Right? And so then I run off to the bench, and again, this has never happened. No idea what's going on. I'm like this, and then the trainer Raymond's like, look, I'm like, I can't even talk. And then we start going down the tunnel. He's like,
Raymond's
he's got 911 on the phone. And he's calling 911. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, you can't move. You got to get here. And as we don't even get to the locker room, we're still in the hallway at Poirier. And it just slowly goes, like, slowly back to place. I'm like, oh, it's good. We're good. Like, hang up. And he's just like, oh, all right, never mind. And then we went back on the bench and we pumped him.
It's like in Ted when he puts the stuffing in wrong.
wrong. It's just Reid.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah, that was
That's a
fun
really
one.
good story.
Yeah, meeting Raymond for the first time.
All because you scored 72 goals in Inter. We got that.
Yeah. No, but like he's saying he's kind of the do it all. He can't really say that, but he kind of is. Like, and it, I think, to be honest, the Canadian, like that Sixes team that went to Alabama, you're on that team, and you look at that roster, and they're, for the most part, it was like guys that are kind of the do it all guys, like the Zach Couriers, the Challen Rogers, the Dane Smiths. Reid Bowering's in that category of player who you can put him kind of anywhere on the floor or on the field, and he'll be able to succeed. He's kind of a chameleon that way. So I was lucky enough to play with him in junior, win a Minto Cup with him. He was still a young buck at that time, but he's playing every minute, big time minutes, scored a big goal or multiple big goals in Minto Cups, and came up. What'd you come out of there with? Two total, captained one of them, and then on the team in 2016 as well. So yeah, he is kind of that do it all guy. And to see, like, in field he's playing attack, in box he's playing defense, like that's a testament to his overall ability for sure.
Yeah, I got down here in the notes talking about your guys' junior careers and you specifically, Reid, winning 2 Mintos. It's funny, in the 2016 one that you guys won that went down to Game 5, almost all 3 of you scored in that game because, of course, Delbs almost won the game there at the end. Yeah. What do you remember about that Minto Cup? Because like me, I was watching from the stands from that game, and like it's hard to compare it to the Minto that we just saw here in Coquitlam because it is a smaller arena, and it was just a crazy atmosphere. Like I wouldn't say from my perspective, it didn't seem like the environment in Langley for that one was as crazy, but it did feel like there was that crazy nervous energy in the building still.
Yeah, what I remember a lot from that was like no one on that team had won before, right? So there's all this pressure of the team having gone to the Minto Cup for so many years and not winning that we all just wanted it so badly. And when it finally happened, just such a relief. Like I'm pretty sure, Pacer, you're probably crying, right? Like there's so much emotion.
Yeah, he was severely concussed.
yeah, that too. But yeah, it was just such a relief and so much joy. I was in the penalty box when we won, so I was just happy to get out there and see everyone. But it was just such a relief to get that first one, I think, for everyone.
It's funny. I remember asking you when Ty and I were putting together that Coquitlam documentary that we did. I remember asking you because you came in, Pacer. We interviewed you for the first episode, and I was asking you about that weird goal you scored in Game 5, where you swim through a couple of guys and you fall backwards. Like it's this miraculous goal. And when we're interviewing you, I ask you about it. You're like, I don't remember it at all. I was like, well, that's an anticlimactic answer. I was expecting like a big thing about the culture of Coquitlam.
No, like I had to watch everything back, but the game before I got hit pretty bad. So Game 5, like the morning shoot around, funny enough.
Nice.
Morning shoot around comes around, and there's like no way that I'm practicing. Like I just played in the however many 4 games before. I'm banged up, like I can barely see. And Pat Coyle comes to me on the bench. I'll remember this. He comes to me on the bench. He's like, look, man, if you can't like help our team, like I'm not going to put you in this game. And I was like, hey, Pat, fuck you. I'm playing in this game. So that's like the kind of the lasting memory that I have. And he trusted me enough to allow me to play in that game. And I, to be honest, I didn't really go get like evaluated. It wasn't like a mandatory thing to go get evaluated. And there's no way that I was going to have anybody tell me I wasn't going to play in that game. So like Reid said, I'd been to, that was my 4th Minto Cup, lost the 3 other ones. So there's just no way that I was going to kind of not be a part of it, win or lose. And lucky enough, we came out on top that year. So yeah, it was cool.
And then Reader, you were on the team that won in 2018 as well. And that's, I mean, every Minto Cup has their own storylines, but the big one leading up to the conclusion of that Minto was like the chaos with the officials going on strike. What do you remember about when all that was going down?
Yeah, I mean, I remember a game got canceled. Like we got all dressed up, ready to go, and the next game, like after all that happened, got canceled. It was pretty funny, but it was hard to stay focused, I guess. So that was like the biggest thing. I mean, we all wanted, Jeff to play so that there's no asterisks and everything.
Best on best.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was just a unique situation. It was just cool to be a part of. Like it was on the news, I think, which is kind of cool. And yeah, it was just another unique experience.
That break was big for me.
Yeah.
Really big for me.
Yeah. definitely.
I was down bad.
Oh yeah, you had like the
Toothgate.
toothgate. Yeah.
Toothgate. Yeah, I had a failed root canal.
Oh,
Yeah, got infected, so I was in the emergency early mornings getting the
Yeah,
antibiotics.
huge jaw.
It was like it was pretty bad. It was like a 5-day straight of antibiotics.
where's Raymond when you needed him? Hey,
Yeah, put your jaw back together.
No, it was up here. It was in my eye almost.
There was a funny meme that came out when that like Jeff Teat yelling at the ref thing happened, and it was like the scene from Semi Pro when Will Ferrell's like screaming at the ref, and they just put Jeff Teat's face on Will Ferrell, and it's like, "Suck my cock, I'll murder your family."
I'm gonna
It's
put
so
this
good.
out there. Like the going rumor at the time that I heard was Marty made that.
Marty.
Ryan Martell.
Ryan Mart-
I heard he was the one behind it. And like if you check out the timeline, that would have been something Marty would do at
so
that
good.
time in his life.
Party Marty.
Party Marty.
Shout out. That's hilarious.
apologies if you answered this earlier, but like you mentioned when you were in minor, like you played offense all growing up, and then you get to intermediate and junior. That's when you start kind of playing defense. Like, who was the first coach or person that got you to start playing defense?
Yeah, Pat Coyle.
It was
Yeah.
Pat, hey?
Yeah, and I hated it the first time that happened. Like, I absolutely hate it. Like, I remember in midget, he took me off the power play my second year midget, and I was pissed. Put me on the short man, and I was pissed about that. Like, not really pissed, but like,
You said
want-
something. You would have said something.
yeah, you know me, right?
Stare
really,
down.
really opinionated. But no, I wasn't like happy about that, and then played offense and intermediate, and then when I got called up to junior, it was all defense, and it was kind of a struggle at first, but then now looking back on it, like super happy that happened because I grew my defensive game, had that opportunity to grow as an all around player, which kind of Pacer was talking about, which is I think the future kind of player for lacrosse when you think of the Olympics. So really grateful that happened. And I got to round out my game, and also grateful that I got recruited before that happened, so I got to play offense in college.
Credit to Delbs here because this is a question that he added to the notes, but it's kind of in this vein of would you ever see yourself playing like a Zach Courier or Challen Rogers kind of role where down the road you end up playing a little bit more offense in your NLL career?
I would, with open arms, I would love to.
Kurt,
I
you
mean,
heard
it's
it here
not-
first.
It's not my choice. I don't have that choice, but I would definitely take that opportunity if it came up. Yeah, I know what Zach's doing this year is sick,
Him, but
Yeah.
even like Brian Cole might be one
Yeah.
of the best at it.
and
Like,
Ian
he's-
McKay. is
Yeah.
tearing it up.
all these guys, they don't want to play defense anymore. It's not as pretty as scoring goals.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you kind of going back to your last question about who like got him into defense. These two were like super privileged in a way that they grew up with Pat Coyle's son. So basically, from Pee Wee.
Yeah, Pee Wee.
he's
Yeah,
Delb's age.
Pat Coyle was our coach.
Pat Coyle was their coach for their whole minor career basically, and then through junior as well. So to have and there's something similar going on in Ridge with Kurt Malosky coaching his kids' age group all the way up. Like when that happens, the amount of kids that come out of that group that are just ready for the next level, it's incredible, and it just kind of shows like what coaching can do for some of these young players.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember at these last winter box sessions, like I would usually just be like sitting in the scorekeeper's box, kind of watching as the drills went on before the games, and I would kind of like you would come in every once in a while, and I would point out a kid, be like, "Hey, this kid's like really good. I don't see any holes in his game." And you're like, "Yeah, it's a Kurt Malowski product." And then like the next group would come in, and I'd say, "Yeah, like this kid's really good." You're like, "Yeah, it's a Kurt Malowski product." Yeah, okay, I
Yeah.
get the theme.
The IQ, it's like the IQ, just overall game sense, like the situations that might come up in a game, those coaches have experienced them for years and years and years and years at the highest levels. So they're able to teach that and relay those messages so that you're not underprepared for whatever could happen.
I think the best thing about those kids too is just that they can handle the pressure. They can handle being ripped apart.
They can
and,
be
like,
coached,
yeah, they can. Yeah,
especially in like today's era. It's
Mhm.
like they're kids that can like be critiqued without you being concerned that like, hey, like, and you do have to adjust to every kid, but sometimes the next generation's not quite the same. Where like you can't tell a kid like you need to smarten up and just be better sometimes.
I want to go over to some PLL stuff with you, Reid, because and before we get to the new contract that you just signed with the New York Atlas, I want to go back to the 2023 championship because you played one game that year
Yeah.
for the Archers. In that one game, you took one shot, you scored one goal, and you were able to hoist a trophy by the end of that game. Tell us the story of, I mean, like you were on their roster, I think. Like you were just called up for that final game because they had some injuries, right?
Yeah.
Like, talk us through how that whole thing went down.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the team the whole year, and just obviously the PLL is loaded with fantastic players on every team, so it's hard to crack a roster spot. So I was just happy to make the team, and then Connor Fields got hit pretty hard in the semifinals, and I think there's a week off before the finals, so they weren't sure if he's going to play or not. I got a call a week before the finals saying, "Hey, like we're not totally sure, but we're thinking maybe we'll bring you down because we might need another lefty if Connor can't go." And I had a trip planned to go. I was going to be flying to Paris during the game. So I'm like, yeah, like I can go, but like I got a trip planned right now. Like I'll have to just rearrange that. But yeah, like I'm in. So they flew me down. I ended up changing my flight from Vancouver to Paris to Philly to Paris for like right after the game. And then
Just a quick little pit stop.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it got me halfway there, so it actually worked out. But pretty much, I didn't practice the day before because Fieldsy was practicing, and he looked really good. Like his shoulder was all good, and then pretty much after that night, they're like, "Okay, we're pretty sure Connor's gonna go." He looked good at practice. He woke up the next morning, and he couldn't move his shoulder. So at breakfast the day of the game, I found out I'm gonna play. And the night before, I just had been like mentally prepared, like I'm gonna go in maybe, but then I thought for sure I'm not going in, so I kind of went to bed late, was like kind of prepping for my trip,
Hammer and Don's just on vacation already, eh?
Yeah, and then the next morning, after breakfast, I'm like, "You're in." I'm like, "Great."
He's practicing his French. Oui, bonjour.
Yeah, looking up restaurants, making reservations, all that stuff, and then I found out I was in, and I was pumped. But then all of a sudden, got super nervous, but. Yeah, and then it worked out fantastic. Yeah. And then right after, I had the bolt.
So you didn't even like stay and celebrate with the team, really?
Just on field, but like I was the first one in the locker room, had to pack up and catch my flight.
Yeah,
so.
the crazy, I think there's like a clip of Tom Schreiber talking after the game.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, like Reid like showed up to like our practice and he's like,
I've never spoken one word to this
introducing him, say, "Hey, I'm Reid. Like, nice to meet you." He's like, this guy's going to go play a championship with us.
Yeah,
Scores a big goal.
Yeah, how like in that situation, and I've known you long enough to know that you never not prepared, but like you're that whole summer, you're not getting the call, you're not in the lineup, you're here.
Yeah.
We're all heckling him for not playing summer ball.
Bugging him about it, but he can't, like the rules are you can't play summer ball. So you're not in like quote unquote game shape. How do you maintain a certain physical standard like in those times to then be able to, when everybody's, going out and partying over the summer, eating whatever you want to eat, going to the beach and eating whatever, how do you maintain a standard where it's like you can get called up for a PLL Championship game and step in without an issue?
Yeah, well, I got lucky because this is September now, and I was like training for NLL training camp. That's what I was doing. So I was like running for that, like pretty much being like, well, this PLL season's like probably not going to play. Like, let me get really ready for the NLL season. Also, probably my beach body for Europe. That's probably a big part of it too. So
yeah,
I was running, doing my bench and ab exercises, so that helped.
I don't know if Reid ever really lets himself go.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, look at his legs right now. They're probably
trunks.
We had to get a wider frame just for them.
Yeah.
I guess it's pretty interesting, Delbs, that this is the first episode that you decided to put pants on instead of shorts.
Darren Fridge has been reaching out. Just said, didn't like my pasty legs in every clip. Last week, I was going to wear them, and then Krob wore the same track pants as me, so
yeah,
I had to change wardrobe.
Yeah.
And then I was worried people are going to mix us up. Same belt.
You and Reid?
Yeah. No, I'm saying me and Krob.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Everybody,
the joke.
Everybody that we talk about on the show is just the same build as somebody else.
Same build.
It all started with Joe Flacco.
Shout out Joe.
And then as we alluded to earlier, you re-upped recently with the New York Atlas. You played some games with them in the regular season last year too, didn't you?
Yeah, I played the first 3 and then was out for a couple and then kind of busted up my ankle at the Team Canada tryouts and didn't get back in. But hopefully this year will be a little different story. So yeah.
How does like talk people through how the contract process goes in the PLL. Like were other teams reaching out to you? Did you like how did that all go by the time the season wound down?
I don't think this year. I only think I waited till free agency opened. I just signed with the Atlas because I was happy with that and just happy to have another opportunity. It's such a tough league. Plus, not really playing a whole ton last year. I wasn't really concerned about joining other teams. Like, it's so saturated with fantastic players. So I just hopped on that opportunity. Again, happy to go back to them and those players, those teammates, those coaches. So yeah, just gonna see how that goes. But that's
Yeah,
that's
he
all
just
it is.
gets to stand in front of the net and Jeff Teat passes him the ball. It's an easy job.
Well, he's listed as a midfielder, not as attack.
that's okay.
You're playing a little bit
Jeff,
everywhere.
Jeff will find him.
Yeah, doesn't matter where you are.
I hope so.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's move into some more NLL specific stuff here, and I want to talk to you. I guess we can start it off with your draft process, because when you got drafted to the Warriors, second overall, I think, it was in like peak COVID days, so it was like everything was on Zoom. Like, I don't know what the comparison is with like how many drafts we've seen that have been in person versus how many are virtual, but you didn't really get to experience the classic, like going up on a stage and shaking the commissioner's hand. Like, what was the draft process like for you?
Yeah, it was just I don't know if it was a Zoom or what platform it was on, but just video call. I think all the draft people who could get drafted were in like a online room, and once you got drafted, they took you out of that room, and there's probably some technical difficulties as that happened. I'm pretty sure. And then you did this interview, and then everything was like a second behind. So I think I was doing that stuff, and everyone I was around, I think, was like had to wait a little bit till that came up. But yeah.
Did you pretty much know you were going to Vancouver?
Not entirely. I mean,
Who had the first pick that year?
Jeff
Jeff
Teat.
T.
And then,
So
yeah.
New York.
Good
but
pick.
Vancouver traded up for that.
Right.
And
yeah.
hot take,
Oh yeah.
Van did not have to trade up for that. Because Rochester, I think, was the third pick, and they took Ryan Smith.
That's a good draft. That's a good top
pretty,
three.
Pretty good players.
Yeah, that's a good.
You
top
guys
three.
talk for a minute. I'll see if I can pull up that draft class here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, Tino, I don't know. I didn't go up on stage and shake the commissioner's hand.
Oh, you did?
That's
I
like,
wasn't even there. I didn't even get a phone call till like
way.
40 minutes after the draft.
Delb's draft class was crazy. His
Yeah.
draft class was insane. But yeah, that like getting drafted to Vancouver, you get the opportunity obviously to stay home, which is huge. But are you told right away, like, hey, we're like rebuilding this whole thing, and you're gonna be like a focal point from a media standpoint, like a marketing standpoint, from like building the team around guys like you? Is that something that you're told kind of from the early days?
Well, they didn't say like we're going in rebuild mode. Like I thought year one we're going to win a championship. That's what I was
Reid's
thinking.
like, this is what I do in juniors.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I
that's-
gotta wait a couple
I mean,
of
even if I
years?
had an inkling that we weren't a good team, like I would still think we're winning a championship. I just don't really like having the rebuild mindset. But so I didn't think that. But yeah, there was some like I was doing a lot of media stuff as the kind of the young rookies do. So yeah, that was a
Promising
you gonna
people
say?
championships, kissing babies.
yeah.
We're not talking.
We're not gonna be fucking shit this year.
No going suck this year.
Well, they did pull out like kind of the like metaphorical red carpet for you, like when you signed in Vancouver, because I remember seeing the video. They brought
Yeah.
you down on the floor. They had like the jumbotron like lowered down to almost onto the
Right,
floor,
yeah.
like for the
Well, I
table to
think
be set up.
because they didn't have a first round draft pick forever. I was the first one for like 9 years.
Yeah, they forgot what it was like.
Yeah,
Like,
so
we gotta
they're
pull.
like, pull out all the resources for that a little bit.
They had
Yeah.
fireworks going off at
Yeah.
BC Place.
Side note, just on that draft class, I think Cookie might have been
Yeah.
fourth or fifth.
He was
in that.
fifth overall.
Trey was
Yeah.
after me.
Yeah, so
That's a good draft.
In-
That's a good draft.
Loaded class.
in order here, it goes Jeff Teat. I'll do like the first.
Ever heard of him?
Jeff Teat, Reid Bowering, Ryan Smith, Trey Leclerc, Tanner Cook, Robert Hudson, Marshall Powless, Jeff Henrik, Brad McCulley. So not a bad draft class.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty good. Pretty
Robbie
good
Hudd.
company.
Robbie Hudd.
Robbie Hudd, yeah, good guy.
You've now been a part of, I don't know if regime is the right word to use here, because it was oh my God, why am I blanking on Vancouver's GM previously?
Doug Locker.
No.
Richardson.
Dan Richardson. Thank you. So it was Dan Richardson's regime, but you had Chris Gill as your head coach, and then Troy Cordingley as your coach. And that was before Mouse comes in and he takes over the job as head coach and also general manager. But in your experience now with kind of all these different bench bosses and now a new regime, what would you say has been the biggest difference in Vancouver since Malowski has taken over?
I think, the biggest thing I feel is like just the free agents that we've gotten has been huge. Like Dilksey, Cornwall now,
Beersy.
Yeah, Beersy's back. Just a bunch of great players who've come to us and want to play for us, I think is huge. I think the biggest thing, too, that's really nice that kind of may go unnoticed is that this is the first time for like a lot of players, myself included, have the same coach for 2 years in a row. So it's nice to finally build off some of the same systems and not learn a whole new mindset, philosophy going into a year. So I think that's been nice to have a little bit of consistency there. That's been huge. And then again, the free agents, the players that are drawn here now.
Is that kind of like the Malowski effect that you guys were talking about with these minor players as well? Like he attracts free agents to want to come home and play in their home province?
Well, I think that BC players, like guys from Vancouver, want it's a best case scenario to play in Vancouver because you don't have to travel every weekend. Like I play in Calgary, it's not a far trip, like it's an easy travel day. But you think about guys that are from BC that have to play in Albany or play in Rochester or play in Georgia, like that's a long, long way to go, and it basically takes up your whole weekend. From essentially like Thursday night to late Sunday, and then you're back to work on Monday. So it's long travel. So in an ideal world, like all the Toronto guys play for Toronto, all the Vancouver guys play for Vancouver. But what Kurt, I think, has done is not only instill in the idea that like, hey, we're going to be a successful team. I think that over the last 18 months or so, the guys on the team believe that they're going to be a successful team. And you can see on the floor, like the product is much better now than it was even 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think just to build off that, as much as guys want to be home, guys want to win, right? Like I think there's a value on the convenience of it, right? You can sell winning, you can sell location, and you can sell money, right? Like there's three things that you can kind of draw players with. And I think right now Vancouver kind of has that, obviously, location. Toronto has that location. And then now they're mixing in a little bit of that winning. So it's a recipe for success.
Yeah, I think Kurt's got the whole organization like up top and everything, like believing in us, the Warriors, and what we can do and like the long-term future. So I think that helps us as well, having their support, because Kurt, obviously how passionate he is. Like he gets everyone on board. So I think it goes from top to bottom.
What do you think about the crowds in Vancouver? Like it seems like gradually over the past few years it's been getting better and better. And then I mean, like I don't know if like how accurate the numbers are, but almost every last few home games that I've been looking at here, like they're listed at close to at least 10K fans. Like it usually, from my experience, it looks like the game doesn't start off with it being overly full, but by the end of the first quarter, everybody's like gotten through traffic and started to roll in, and the atmosphere seems like it's gotten way better in Rogers Arena.
Yeah, I would say so. Exactly that too, especially with the games being on Friday.
7 o'clock start is tough.
Yeah, on Friday. So 100%. Like when we go out for the national anthem, it's not as full as it is after the first quarter. But yeah, it's been fantastic. Like up until I guess the last two games that we lost at home, like we had a great streak going into last year, not losing at home. So I think that was great for the fans to see. They knew they could come to Rogers Arena and see a really good game, and like players that really cared and fought hard.
It's also like one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest place downtown to drink.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're going to pregame for going out on a Friday, like you go to Rogers, you watch a lacrosse game, which is exciting to begin with. You get $5 beers, and then you go out after that. Like that's a selling point. And I'd say more so than most fan bases, Vancouver fans are very fair weather. Like if the teams are good, people fill the stadium. If the teams are not good, like you see attendance drop. And again, that's a testament to what they've been able to do over the last little bit. And guys like Reid are a huge part of that.
Yeah, I think just a cool thing as a fan, I've been going to Warriors games. And just kind of, I was on the Jumbotron. Yeah. That was, but I think the cool thing is just seeing how diverse the crowds are. Like it's not just lacrosse people, right? The other day I was at a game and there was a random British guy sitting beside me, season ticket holder,
Really?
at the game by himself, right? So kind of went the first quarter like not really saying anything about being a lacrosse player, and just seeing how kind of they're growing the game outside of kind of your generic fans. And I think,
And then Christian couldn't help himself. He's like, "Hey, by the way,
Yeah,
buddy,
by the
like,
way,
I'm a
yeah,
former
I
MVP.
played.
Like I played in this league.
yeah,
I'm just a
But-
fat loser now. So
Yeah.
sorry."
yeah, one day. But it's
Guys,
cool.
like nobody asked, dude.
Okay. But it's cool, right? Because I think they are getting kind of some of those season ticket holders from the families where it's a cheaper ticket than the Canucks. And then obviously, like Tyler touched on, you got the party crowd in the two end zones just there to crush beers. So it's good to see it growing in one of the strongest markets for lacrosse in our league.
Sure.
That home winning streak that you guys were on for I think it was 7 games, stretching back to last season as well. It's come to an end, and there's been a little bit of a skid here, I guess we could call it. Like you guys are just coming off of a bye week as well. But the post game press conference specifically from Kurt after your guys' last loss, I found super intriguing in that he was very direct. I mean, he's a very direct person with his comments. He's with pretty much everything that he says, but he was very direct afterwards, I found, in that he felt that the goaltending was pretty good in that game, all things considered, with Walsh coming off the flu. The defense all year has, for the most part, kind of done their job. In that game specifically, looking for more from the offense, and again was saying, if you're not going to go to the middle consistently, I'm going to change up the lineup. And he was like, I'm not threatening that I'm going to trade guys, but, the trade deadline's coming up kind of thing. So when you guys in the locker room hear a message like that, I'm not asking you to share everything that goes on in the locker room, but how does the group receive a message like that from your coach?
That's a great question. I mean, I think I would say confidently that everyone's taking that and going back to the drawing board, and like they got to work harder. And it's not just the offensive players, it's the defensive players, it's the goalie, it's the face off, it's everyone. And I think the big thing too is no one's pointing fingers like us in the locker room, right? Like that's Kurt's job to harp on us, to tell us that we need to be better, and it's our job to support each other in any way that we can. And again, just go back to the fundamentals, work hard, get in the gym, get to the box, get to the PC Performance Center,
That's right.
Plug.
And
Good plug. Good plug.
and yeah, that's all we can really do is work harder. So.
You mentioned faceoffs there as well. How about this Stathakis kid? Man, he's
Denver, go Pios.
Unreal entry to the league. Is this his first experience like playing box?
Oh yeah,
ever?
yeah.
Really?
He never played box before training camp. It was hilarious. Just like didn't know like what open meant, like in picks, like no clue. And he's like, props to him. He's picked it up so fast, faster than I think I ever could if I never played box. So that's it's really impressive, and he's a beauty too. So. Yeah, props to him.
These
Shout
American
out
guys,
Steph.
these American guys coming into the league are freak athletes.
Yeah.
They're freaks. Like at the end of the day, like there is a certain athleticism that if you just have it, you can find like fake it till you make it sort of thing. And Stathakis is no exception. And from what I've heard about him, he's just nails. Like the kid just will run through a wall. And to be honest, based on his stature, he probably would beat the wall.
Yeah. Never has a shirt on either.
I mean, if I looked
he's
like that,
ripped.
I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah.
Dubs always has a shirt
Yeah.
on.
I'm a,
He's a
sometimes
Head
two.
to toe.
yeah. He's a shirt in the pool guy.
Yeah.
Delbs, there's a story here that you're gonna have to tell because something you put in the notes. Again, I'm gonna read it word for word because I have to sort of translate. what
These
you're
are
putting
like
in.
spark notes I'm sending on voice.
Yeah,
text
and
while driving home.
and I like to be able to just read them so you can kind of run with them. So this one says, bus trip home from Calgary, Reid throwing up in a chip bag while Challen and Chet's wouldn't shut the fuck up with a British radio voice. Do tell.
Yeah, so that was back when there was a 7-game series between BC and Alberta. And I think we had maybe a young Reid Bowering with us, and
Yeah.
obviously long bus ride home. People had some beverages, had some things prior, and Reid was fighting a bit in the morning. And I don't think he could find a proper bag, so I think Miss Vicky's.
So I mean, I don't remember the bag. Like, I don't drink anymore. Maybe that's why. But no.
Burnt him young.
I just remember I passed out. I fell asleep in my seat, and I think as it was happening, I guess someone brought a chip bag to me to help, and then I remember waking up in a different shirt.
and I don't know, Pacer might be able to speak on this, but all I remember in the background is Chow and Chetz, and I think Ryan Ishikawa it was. We're just going off of some British
Just going
radio,
on tangents. Yeah, we had like
screaming at like 5 a.m. in the morning.
the junior
Roll
Adnax.
calls?
Roll calls.
Yeah.
Junior Adnax had like their own language. Like we like spoke in cryptic
Gibberish.
words basically. So like people who were around us had no idea what we were talking about, and we were just idiot junior kids like laughing the whole time about nonsense. So if this British newscaster thing is legit, which I don't remember, I'm sure it is, but like sounds about right.
Before we move on to some stuff that we saw go down across the league, Reader, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about this new business venture that you're going down here a little bit, Bowser Originals. So tell everybody what this is all about.
Yeah. So pretty much what it is a course to help high school lacrosse players get recruited, to ease their recruitment process. I remember like when I was in high school, it just being stressful. I was confused. It was something I really wanted to do, but had no idea where to turn to. And ultimately, I felt like I got pretty lucky with my recruitment process, ending up where I ended up, having a great experience. But I just think there's a lot of players who, again, are from maybe smaller towns in Canada, in the States, who, don't get to go to recruitment events all the time, don't know the best way to become the ideal recruit. So that's why I did this. And I interviewed a bunch of college coaches, I interviewed a bunch of parents and players to figure out their biggest challenges with the process. And I used all that information to create this course. And now I'm trying to get out there to as many kids as I can.
Where do people go to find more information about this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I got a website. It's in the Instagram for Bowser Originals. It's in the link there. It's in my personal Instagram link as well. And I'll be pumping out a lot more too coming up.
We can probably put that in like the description or something.
Maybe
Yeah.
We'll get a sponsorship package to you. You don't know, but you just bought one right there.
Yeah. By the way, here's your invoice.
Thanks.
No, but we'll be like PCL. Basically, that's our goal, is to help kids get to universities. And we do a lot of the on-field development. Reid is one of the coaches that has been helping me for several years now doing the on-field stuff. It's the off-field stuff that he's talking about that is challenging. And there are a lot of kids who are at like day one trying to get recruited and aren't really sure what to do, who to call, what type of email to write, like what they need to include in that email. And I do my best to support as many of those kids as I can. But having a platform like this, and Reid and I are working out the details to get all of the PCL kids included into this program. So this will be huge for not only the kids within my program, but lacrosse players all across North America and beyond who are eager to make it to that NCAA level. Preferably they all want to go Division I. I don't think that that's the be all end all. But it really just helps them open doors that they probably didn't know could be opened before. So it's a huge step for Reid. I'm really happy for him, and I'm happy to find a way to get PCL and this new company together.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
This feels like a good chance for you, Pacer, to do some recaps. Hey, it's a new segment that we're going to be doing here. At least we'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. But you're gonna hop into your broadcasting venture for the first time.
You were dialed before when you were doing the practice advertisement.
Yeah, for the ad.
You were dialed.
Good.
Yeah, I was locked in.
You nervous?
Lock the fuck in.
Not nervous. I'm gonna fumble fuck some words and. I don't
Okay,
know that the jokes.
We don't make fun of each other here about spelling.
The jokes are
anything like
the
that.
jokes are not gonna hit. I don't think so. Okay, I gotta come up with like a voice here.
The breath.
I gotta come up with a voice. All right. Weekend recap in the NLL. On the best looking floor in the league, Lyle hits his 350th career goal while Jeff Teat continues his takeover of the NLL like he's got a monopoly on scoring. But late in the game, Dobson channeled his inner wall, and Georgia showed why they're a tough team to beat, pulling away for a dominant win. Swarm 15, Black Bears 9. Looks like Georgia's not just bringing the bees, they're bringing the sting.
I think you need more emphasis in your voice.
Yeah. Get excited, man. Build it up.
All right,
It's almost there.
Rochester came out swinging, looking like they'd run away with it early, but Albany made things interesting, pulling within 1 in the 4th. Rochester's trio of Smith, Lanchbury, and Fields were just too much, while Albany's young squad struggles continue after last year's finals. In the end, Rochester pulled away like they'd spotted the last slice of pizza at the party. Nighthawks 14, Firewolves 7. Watch out, playoffs. Rochester's coming.
That was better.
That was
Yeah.
Making steps.
In a battle for first, it was a back and
More
forth.
confidence there.
In a battle for first, it was a back and forth slugfest with Josh Byrne continuing his MVP push, and Zach Mans was out there saying, "Fine, I'll do it myself." But without Robert Church, Sask learned the hard way. Against the Bandits, you need more than a couple stars. You need a whole galaxy. Bandits 9, Rush 7. Looks like Buffalo's secret weapon is their entire roster.
Was Churchy not playing?
Yeah, he wasn't at that game.
Nick Rose makes his Roughnecks debut going head-to-head with his Team Canada teammate Dylan Ward. It was like a family reunion, if your family is full of goalies. Calgary's slow starts continue as Colorado took a 5-0 lead into the second quarter. Someone get these guys an espresso shot before the game. Eli McLaughlin became Colorado's all-time leader in goals, and just when Calgary thought they were mounting a comeback, Colorado turned up the volume in the Loud House. Mammoth 11, Roughnecks 8. Calgary may have started slow, but the Mammoth were full throttle from the get-go. Not bad. Landon Kells and Warren Hill put on a goalie duel in the Sin City. Pretty sure the only thing more flashy than the neon lights was their performance. Vegas's offense had a tough night while Tarafanko was out there continuing to build his resume for Transition Player of the Year. Josh Jackson scores his first career goal, Holden Catoni grabs his first 2 as a Desert Dog, and Cody Jamieson hits the 350-goal milestone. Basically, it was a night for firsts and milestones. Thunderbirds 9, Desert Dogs 5. Vegas may be playing with house money, but it was the Thunderbirds who came out on top. And that's your weekend recap.
I was hoping that was a good one. That was pretty good.
Not bad, hey?
Actually, not bad.
All right.
You know, a little
Thanks, guys.
slow start, but you got better and better with each one.
Good, and held it all the way through.
Yeah.
People might reach out to you.
Taking Tino's job.
What the hell, man?
Yeah, so that's not bad, but we can go over all those games if you'd like.
Well, I mean, I have a couple points here that I do want to go over. So, your point there at the end about it being like a game of firsts or milestones, that kind of seems like it was a theme throughout this last week. Like there's a ton of them. Like you mentioned, like Eli McLaughlin becoming the all-time goal leader in Mammoth history, which I need to say about this. Like I remember seeing that social media post. I cannot find it for the life of me anymore. I've scrolled through their Instagram, their Twitter, and I'm looking up the stats as well to try to confirm. Like currently, the NLL website specifically for stats is super unreliable. So I use Graham Perot made a website, nlstats.com. That's pretty much the go-to for stats. And this has Eli McLaughlin at 292 career goals with the Mammoth, ahead of John Grant Jr., who has 235. I don't think Eli scored that many goals over the weekend.
I think it's
It
probably
felt like
playoff
that,
goals. Probably playoff goals.
No, this has just regular season ticked.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, but that's why I'm wondering, like, if there was like a mistake or something, because I cannot find the post
The
anywhere.
only person to ever hold the goals record twice.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. But that's elite company.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy company.
Yeah.
Like some of those guys weren't there. Obviously, Junior had most of his career in Rochester before going to Colorado. And then Gary Gates, obviously, on that list too. And he was one of those guys, like the early ambassadors of our sport, and was kind of shipped across all the teams in the league to kind of grow the game, grow the market. You know, let's go watch this gate guy play, these gate guys play. Yeah. So, you know, the fact that they have records in some of these places is crazy, but nonetheless, Eli McLaughlin ahead of guys like John Grant Jr. and Gary Gate is bonkers.
And Reader, like, you've had to play defense against him for the last bunch of years. Like, how do you slow him down?
You don't. Like, last year, I remember he cut. I don't know. I forget what he did, but I got sat after that. Whatever he did, like he got.
Stay on your side of the floor, Reid. Play against.
He was on the wrong side, and I think he slapped my hands down, cut wide open, and then Kurt sat me after. So that was no fun. So no, he's so tough to play against. He's got such a good shot, and he's so athletic. I was watching him in the Man Cup too, in Six Nations this past summer, and some of the shots he was throwing is just ridiculous. So. No, I think he's one of the best players for sure.
He might be one of the best off-ball lacrosse players in the world. Like, he's one of the best lacrosse players in the world. but it's so impressive. Like kind of when he gets to that soft spot and you just see his stick kind of rise up for that high release on the twister, you're just like, oh man, every time. Right. So, and I think obviously you see some of those one-on-ones that he had last week versus Calgary. It was, what a player.
Yeah, what a player. And I played with him in junior as well. He was on one of our teams. We brought him in at like the trade deadline. And I think Eli's a player who kind of grew up just having talent. Like he was just more talented, and that's what kind of helped him get to that next level. I think he's taken the like nutritional and the fitness side of things more seriously over the years, and then two, he's had unbelievable coaching, and you can see like his game is not like slowing down with age. It's like improving kind of year after year, and it's kind of scary thinking about he's probably got 4, 5, 6 more years in the league to just keep dominating.
And he wasn't even, well, I mean, before I move on to the next one, do you think he gets his number retired in Colorado? Does Colorado do that? I know we talked about this with Calgary, but
they have guys retired. Yeah.
I would say that, yeah, my vote would be yes.
Yeah.
He's still, like Tyler said, he still has probably 4 years, 5 years of doing it, and doesn't seem like he has any intention of going anywhere.
2 years older than me, so 93, I think. Maybe
he's a 93 or 94. 93.
No, he's not a 94.
93. I don't think he's a 92.
Yeah, so he's 31, 32, but all-time leader in goals. They've got a championship with him on the team. Like, his resume speaks for itself. And again, we talked with Connor last week, like guys don't really want to leave that city and that situation. So if he stays there for his whole career, like it's like first ballot, hang his banner kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he wasn't even the only player in that game over the weekend to pass a milestone or make a milestone, in this case save, because Dylan Ward moved up to 6th all-time for saves with 6,363. Again, like with the caveat that stats in the NLL are like, oftentimes you'll find throughout the week they'll like remove a couple saves or a couple of, so like I hope in this case that doesn't happen. But yeah, Dylan Ward now 6th all-time.
And then
saves.
Rosie's bumped up this weekend too.
Well, Rosie became, I mean, we're going to get to that momentarily, but let's just do it now. Rosie becomes the 3rd goalie in NLL history to reach 7,000 saves.
Wow.
It's
How many
unbelievable.
do you have?
No clue. Couldn't even tell you.
If you guys talk for a minute, I can look that up too.
How many saves do you have?
I have none, but did you see Simmons save?
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Kind of sick.
But you know what? So somebody
might be
said,
save of the year.
Somebody said, is that the greatest non-goalie save ever in NLL history? And then somebody brought up Durston in Buffalo a couple years back.
yeah, didn't he like
when he did
he did
the
like a hockey
hockey
goalie save?
kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he
that
might
was
have made
sick.
2 saves.
Yeah, he might have. Yeah,
It was pretty impressive.
Dirty Durst. Yeah.
So Delbs, regular season, you have 3,937 saves.
Long way to go, especially if you're not in the league.
If you want to include playoffs, you're up to 4,377.
Yeah, so like half of what Rosie has.
Yeah, that's fair. Have I played half as many seasons?
Don't make me keep looking things up while we're recording.
Yeah, Rosie, sick addition.
Well,
Like, I knew him in like passing. You know what I mean? I knew him in passing. We would be friendly with each other after games, or like if I was ever that way and I saw him, or if he was ever this way and saw me at the arena, like he's a friendly guy to just go up to and say, you know, hey Rosie, what's up? And he kind of knows. He seems to know everybody or like recognize
Know somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah,
kinda guy.
like he's one of those guys that's just open arms, and he'll say hi and have a conversation if you want, or he'll just say hi and you can kind of continue on your way. But having him in the room, like such a gentle soul, like just wants to help the team win. It was clear, and he was just open. He didn't come in with any sort of ego. It wasn't like, hey, I'm Nick Rose and I'm the fucking man. Like, just do what I say. Not at all like that. Nor did I really expect that. But when you're one of the all-time great goalies coming off the season that he had last year, like he came in with kind of the sense of like, hey, I'm just here to help. You tell me what you need from me. And then towards the end, once he got a little more comfortable, it's like, hey, I'd really like to see this type of shot or that type of shot. And to have that communication with an elite goaltender and combine that with, our defense buying into that idea, I think that it's going to be a nice recipe moving forward for sure.
So, I mean, you kind of talked about it there, but and Delbs, maybe we can ask you as well, because did you watch this game? Did you watch Calgary versus Colorado?
Yeah.
Like, what did you think of Rosie's debut?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of work for him. He had a lot of shots, right? And I think if you sit and watch that game, like Rosie was definitely not the problem, nor do I think anybody who watches lacrosse thought so. I thought he played pretty damn well. And I think just like on top of what Tyler's saying, like Rosie might be one of the most universally liked people in lacrosse. Like it seems like not a single person in a league of, I'm going to go throw out a bullshit number, but 200 people, no one really has an issue with them. Right. So I think just as he builds that kind of chemistry with the defense, and I think I kind of touched on it with Rosie talking over text, it's like leaning on guys like Eli to kind of relay that information and kind of get the shots that you want. It's only going to get easier and easier for him in this transition, playing with a new defense.
Reid, with you guys being on a bye week, are you somebody who do you watch the games throughout the weekend? Or are you a guy that doesn't really like to watch a lot of film? Like, where do you come out on that?
I watch film, but I don't usually watch like the games at like when they're playing. Except this past weekend, I watched I guess it was the week before. I watched Buffalo San Diego because we were playing San Diego. But usually I just watch like whatever team I'm playing the next week, like on my own time at a random time. Usually not live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so some more milestones to go over here in the Sask versus Buffalo game. Dane Smith passes Gary Gate for 10th all-time in points with 1,167. The next guy on that list that he's hunting after is none other than Dane Doby, who currently has 1,186 points. And this might be the most like lukewarm question. Like, you guys be the judge here. When talking about like the best all-around lacrosse players, everybody talks about Zach Courier, like Lyle Thompson, Challen Rogers, Reid. I would put you in that category as well.
He's only saying that because you're here.
I know.
I mean, same style.
Should have
players,
heard what
really.
he was saying about you last week.
Calves aren't even that big.
Is Dane? I mean, everybody can kind of agree that Dane Smith is like the best, at the very least, offensive player. But Dane plays on the PK as well. Is he the best all-around lacrosse player in the world right now?
I'd say there's for sure an argument for it. It's tough though. Like realistically, I think the biggest testament to that is you watch him in summer ball, and he plays basically out the back door for Six Nations when they need it, and that is like the fact that he's able to come in the MVP of the league. He scores 150 points a season, whatever it is, and then he goes into the summer and he's able to go out the back door and then run in trend. Like that's a clear testament to the abilities that he has. And it just doesn't look like he's slowing down. Like he's got that fast first step, get over the top. He makes the right decision every time offensively, and then he's never a liability defensively. To say he's the best overall, like I think there's a very reasonable case for that.
Yeah.
But there are some incredibly talented guys in our league, and to just say like it's a clear cut, I'd be hard pressed to say it's clear cut.
Yeah, I think one thing that's underrated about it, I don't know if there's a thing underrated about his game because everyone knows how good he is, but just him pressing the ball. Like some of the turnovers that he created in that game versus Sask, it's like those are backbreakers in a playoff game or a championship game. And it's like to him, it's just like, oh, like I'm just running back. I'm faster and more athletic than this guy. I'm going to press him and push him back over center and run on a 2-on-1, right? Like I think there's a play where he went back and forth with McKay like 3 times and they didn't score, but it was just like watching as a fan, you're like, this is crazy. Like these guys are better than who they're playing.
You play Buffalo pretty soon, don't you?
Yeah. End of March in Buffalo. So
yeah.
Have you played in Buffalo yet?
Hostile territory.
I've never played in Buffalo, so I'm pretty
Oh,
pumped,
sick
honestly.
experience.
Yeah.
When it's going good, it's a sick experience. When it's going bad, cool experience, not a sick.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's hostile there. Like the
Really?
fans really buy into it.
Yeah.
Like they're
Seems
right
good.
away. Like it's packed in the anthems, and they're just giving it to the away
Really?
team. Oh, it's
I love
pretty
that.
cool.
That's awesome.
That's pretty sick.
I feel big time.
I had a coworker come up to me today actually and ask me this question. And I told him, he said, told me, shout out to Cody Gilliam. He said he listens to the pod, loves it so far. And I told him I'd pass this question on to you guys. Thoughts on music playing during games? I know it's obviously different in summer ball versus the NLL. Where do you guys, Reader, we'll start with you. Where do you come out on this?
Well, so before I got in the league, I hated it a ton. Like whenever I went to a Warriors game or an NLL game, like I thought it was super annoying. I just, as a lacrosse player, I wanted to focus just on the game, like kind of like when you watch a hockey game. But now as a player, I don't notice it at all, and I see the reason why they do it for like the kids and all that. Plus, I don't know, like if there was no music, I wonder if it would it'd be dead in some places.
It'd be silent.
in some places, and you don't right.
You're just in Fort Worth. Who was that? One of the 12 people.
Someone
Oh, man.
sneezes.
Someone farts in like a
Cookie's looking around. Who was
concession
that?
stand. Yeah.
Cookie, that was you.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the kids actually tonight when I was coaching asked me, like, do you get annoyed at the music? Like, are you sick of certain music or certain genres or certain songs because you play like and it's on all the time? I was like, to be honest, I don't. You don't hear it. You hear the songs during like the TV timeouts. You hear the songs maybe during like a intermission or something. And usually those are like they're just blasting those songs, or there's like a sing along with the crowd or whatever. But when the game is actually going on, I could not tell you at all what kind of music is happening. Like there's zero attention paid to what song is on the speakers.
Yeah, I think sometimes it kind of muffles some of my F-bombs that I let out on the floor, so that helps me. I think just building off what Tyler's saying, again, it's the fourth quarter when they do like kind of like that baseball style final inning song. It's electric. Like even sometimes when you're in away barns and it's a
Like the
good song.
sing-alongs?
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
song. I find myself like kind of whistling, going back to the net.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of those. The rest of the stuff, I get it. There's obviously always some controversy with the they're turning it up when we're on defense, right? The home teams.
Did I tell that story last week? I don't know if
I don't think
did.
so.
Hilarious. So, I don't know who we were playing. Sask. I think it was Sask. We end up losing the game. Like we were losing at this point in the game too, but I had a good laugh on the bench when this happened. The ref comes over and he goes to Shooter and he's like, "Hey Shooter, like they're complaining that you guys are turning up the music when they're on what would it be?
Defense.
Offense? They're on defense.
Yeah, they're on
So you
defense.
can't
when
hear
they're on
them.
defense,
Okay.
when they're on defense,
So you can't
guys,
talk.
the speaker people are turning up the music. Like we gotta stop that if that's true." And Shooter goes, "Tell him fuck you and tell him I said it." It was so good. I just started cracking up. But yeah, like a good story of kind of it brings like chills to me is when we were in the championship and it was fourth quarter. Like it's a close game. The Saddle Dome is packed, like standing room only. And they did, like the loud, like
Loud meter.
the loud meter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like make some noise and it's the loud meter.
Yeah.
It got so like the floor was like shaking. People
No
were
way.
like stomping on the ground, like cheering as loud as they could. Though it was like shaking. It made like brings chills to me thinking about it because it was one of the cooler experiences I've ever had in sports.
Oh man.
I got a question. Do you think those meters are real?
No.
On the screen?
I never
No way.
thought so. I never thought
Yeah,
so.
there's 20 people in the building.
Those
and that's
meters-
all we have.
Those are real things, but the ones on the jumbotron are not.
Yeah.
Those
They
are
don't.
doing it.
They're not.
Not directly correlated to that.
I knew it.
actual
I knew it.
Conspiracy theories.
I'm
with
pretty sure
Reid.
they had one in Panther City as well. They would always go to the
Yeah.
full-
Go to the green.
yeah, that's I always said like when people would I mean not that many people are asking me about it, but I always just said like it's uncomfortably quiet. Like you talk like in a hockey game, at the very least with no music, like you're hearing skates carve ice, or in a basketball game you're hearing, or in summer ball you're hearing shoes on concrete or shoes on wood, like whatever, so you get that squeak a little bit. I mean, in NLL it's on turf. You're not hearing anything. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but I do think that you would hear there's so much communication going on. Like especially on the defensive side of the ball, like I think it would be like beneficial to a young fan, like a young kid who's trying to understand the game a little bit, to just hear how much, because we say it all the time when we're coaching the kids, like you like there is no time when you're on defense that you're not talking. So to actually be able to hear that, like in the game, I think would be beneficial to like aspiring professional lacrosse players who like, oh yeah, Reid says he talks all the time, but he barely talks. But then you go to the game and it's like Reid's, hey, open, like pick coming, like open here, shoot here, coming left, picks coming, open here, like move your feet this way, whatever it might be. Like they're just nonstop for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, however long the shift lasts. Like I think that is something that we might be able to get out of
One
our
day.
sport.
I think it's also like you see all these mic'd ups, like you'd catch some funny stuff. Like it's like Jack Hanna calling Eli a bum,
Yeah.
right? Like stuff.
You're the
like
smallest
that.
guy out here.
Like you'd hear more of some of that little stuff. You'd probably hear some stuff that they shouldn't hear, but I think that would be another side of that whole scheme that fans could kind of appreciate or get fired up about.
I think that's also an argument in favor of, like, people have been talking for the past couple of years with all these like in-depth documentaries. The NHL had the one on Prime, and there's the Full Swing, the PGA one, about how it would be cool to have something like that, like following around a handful of players in the NLL. I think it would be cool. Like the NHL has mics everywhere on the boards, and that's where a lot of these mic'd up stuff, like you're hearing some of these conversations. It's not just the mics on the players, it's the environmental mics as well. I think you get some of those in an NLL arena and produce something like that. I think you're going to hear some pretty cool stuff, some pretty outrageous stuff, but
there might be a lot of people in trouble.
I mean, you would think the same with the NHL.
totally.
Yeah,
That's
the
what the
NHL
editors are for.
The thing is, the NHL probably would edit it a lot cleaner and tidier. Where like
I got a guy they can look
Yeah.
to for
Yeah,
that.
we got an editor.
Yeah.
Not trying
Producer.
to screw
Yeah, we have
themselves
Jamie.
over.
Yeah, like I don't think the league would not edit. Watch your profanities. I don't think the league would like not edit the really bad stuff out. I think they would do a fine job of it. But I don't think that our sport, like, what is Netflix going to pick up an NLL docu-series? You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to watch.
they
They're
might
gonna
pick
have-
up a podcast.
They're going to have 200 people watching.
I don't know, because then you think like what didn't F1 get big because of their
Yep.
Netflix thing?
I mean,
Absolutely.
F1
F1 was a
big.
multi-billion-dollar
F1's
corporation.
I had no idea it
humongous.
existed.
Yeah.
I
You had
I'm
no idea.
Ferrari.
I think
Ferrari.
Yeah.
I
like
think
Red
that a lot of
Bull.
people in the same camp as that, where like a lot of people in present day became F1 fans because of that documentary.
Yeah, there was.
Sure, I don't
It's a
disagree,
lot
but
bigger.
it was like how high in the rankings in Europe is F1? It's probably
Oh,
top
for
2 or 3 biggest sports.
It's
in
one
Europe.
of the richest sports in the world.
Okay,
100%.
I think lacrosse could do it if you made it about more than lacrosse. Like you gotta get the guys with the biggest personalities, so people aren't watching just for lacrosse.
To
So
be
Reid Bowering.
completely honest, and this is like pumping our
No,
this
not
is just
picky.
pumping our tires, but I think things like this where you get to see some guys' personalities and you get to understand that we're not always losers.
We're also like average Joes.
We're average people, like we can relate to the everyday person, and I think that's something that our sport is maybe more unique than like an NHL or an NBA or an NFL or an F1, where like those guys can't go out in public in certain places without like being bombarded by people. So that's like a unique trait of our league, and yeah, to be honest, I don't think a thing like Netflix or Amazon is going to pick up an NLL docu-series because they're not going to get the clicks, and that's a lot of money. But I think down the road it for sure could.
The visual though of a Tyler Pace walking like in downtown Vancouver with like in incognito with like a hood and sunglasses, but nobody even has any idea to come up.
I'm just like waving at people that aren't
It's got
waving
like
at me.
the Entourage theme song playing.
That feels like a good place to end on, unless you guys got anything else to offload before we conclude here.
No, I mean, only like very random side story, just talking about the Coquitlam Junior days, is just kind of the rookie parties. And how the one thing I remember, Tyler did a very good one where it was the scavenger hunts and some of the clues and random things. And one that just sticks with me till this day. I think Kai McDonald wrote, and he's going to love that he got a shout out, is like we used to call it the shack. It was a garage it was Tyler's garage, and we'd hang out there, play video games, all that stuff. So one of the clues was you're almost there, stay on the throttle, head to the big Aristotle, as in Shaquille O'Neal, the shack. And that was the final clue to get there.
To get to the rookie party.
Yeah,
Like
and
the
I
whole,
just-
it was like a scavenger hunt. So all the rookies had to wear like diapers or a ridiculous costume and
Yeah.
go around town and get all these items, like a 1 cent gas receipt,
That
like
was funny.
a dildo signed by Pat Coyle or something. Like it was.
War on the
Yeah.
floor signed by Pat
Yeah,
Butler.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
somebody got that finally.
Yeah.
Like somebody finally got that actually signed. Pat used to refuse to sign it.
Can I bring up that? So Chris Boucher, I'm just going to bring it up. Chris Boucher commented on one of our clips, I don't know, like a week, we've only been in business for 3 weeks. So a couple weeks ago.
Humble brag.
Yeah. And basically he was like, oh, you should do like it was talking about the NLL All-Star game, how it would be, everybody gets $150 to participate in it. And it would be like the next generation of War on the Floor. And I brought up the idea of every NLL player pitching in $150, and then we actually produce a War on the Floor 2 and have Pat Coyle be like the narrator.
That'd be sick.
Would be sick,
Oh,
hey?
Yeah.
So
I do it.
okay, there's $150.
Yep.
No, he's not an NLL
Yeah,
player.
I don't have to. I don't even have.
I'll
I already
pitch in.
paid my
I'll
dues.
pitch in 150,
You
but
could narrate it with them. That'd be good.
No, no.
this is my
It'd just be Pat
official
making
like
fun of me.
official. I
That'd be
don't even know what I'm like.
Pitch.
Yeah, pitch. Like I think
Sharks
we could do,
with a small donation of $150.
yeah, I think if every player bought into it at $150, I think we would have a pretty good case to build a pretty legit documentary that we talk about. Now we want to get on the big stage of Netflix and Amazon. Like there's step one in my
I do
opinion.
like how like 5 seconds ago we were talking about how we don't know how many players are in the league, but like $150 a head should be enough.
Yeah, I did. I think I
We
did.
don't
Like
know how many.
20 times 14. What's that?
good math.
These are the wrong two people to be asking that question.
I don't think you've watched the first couple episodes.
I did.
It's a lot. I want to
It's a
say
lot.
it'll come to like
We
30
need
grand. I want to say it's like
money.
30 grand. 30 grand, give or take. But
Carry the 4.
yeah, carry the 4.
I don't know.
Jamie.
Yeah, but that'd be sick. So NLL players, if you're seeing this, hearing this, watching this, give me $150
Give you
now.
All right, before we go, I have something to bring up. Remember, this was a while ago, you brought up the scenario about how much would you pay for this like transportation device or
be-
teleportation?
Teleportation
Yes.
to be right home
Yeah, and I keep thinking about this a lot.
instead of flying.
Yeah,
That's why you
But I don't-
sign in Vancouver.
but there's so many details that we talked about that I forget when I try to like bring this up if I were to ask someone this. Like, do you remember that?
I bring up these types of hypotheticals
Yeah,
kind of frequently. So
not that specific.
one that I remember that you said, just as an example, is like how much money
Yeah.
would you need right now to retire, never work again? You get this much money, and that's the only money that you're ever going to have. Guess how much Reid said? $100 million.
I still don't think it's ridiculous. So let's hear your answer. What's your answer?
one sum of money to retire right now.
And
You
you
can't
can never
ever make
work
money again.
Yeah.
You can't ever make money again.
Oh man,
That includes investing. You can invest.
You can invest.
You can invest.
Can't
No, you
invest.
Can't invest. Can't invest.
Can't invest?
No, that's
Cannot.
working. That you get a T4 for that. No,
No.
you have to
Capital
pay
gains.
taxes on your investments. Yeah,
Honestly, I would have also probably said
Sarah
100
is going to be calling
$100
you.
million.
Yeah, right. Like I think you said like 5 million.
I think 20.
And you would never work again.
I mean, I would probably like work. I just
No,
wouldn't
you
be paid.
You're
Volunteer.
I'd volunteer. I'd
It's like
get
a
out
morning
of the
shoot
house.
around.
Like Hannah would kill me if I didn't work.
Shout out Hannah.
Pacer, how much money?
10 mil.
That's ridiculous. That is why
Yeah.
are you pinning yourself like
Limiting yourself.
yeah.
It's not
Reid-
like
Reid-
that.
Are you
That was like your low number.
I know.
Reid's,
I know.
Reid's been watching Big Business
Yeah. 100 mil, no problem.
podcast.
Like, what would you spend?
Yeah.
It's like the money to
You got free your mind.
I don't want to. You're gonna be.
Escape the 9 to 5.
gonna be struggling. I only have $98 million left
You're
How am I
gonna be
gonna
80
make
years
this last
old.
the next
There's
70
no
years?
dollars, No.
with
No
no
income,
dollars.
with
80
no
years old, no income.
I don't
With
think
only
it's that
$80 million
outrageous.
left.
Yeah, if I ran through $80 million, I don't think I'm living to 70.
Yeah, honestly, there's no way. But the teleportation thing, how much would I pay for it? I don't know how much I'd pay for it, but quite a lot.
Yeah.
Especially as like an NLL frequenter traveling. Sunday morning, if I could just teleport to my own bed, like there's
You're also going to travel more if you have that. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to go to Spain for a day.
I'll be
Yeah.
back in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I just really
I
like
think that would ruin your life. Like everything would be too easy.
yeah.
Too privileged.
That'd be dead.
1 second he wants
Yeah.
$100 million, the other second he wants to grind. Eh?
yeah. Now you wanna
Decide
go-
what you want, man. Like, do you want to suffer?
I
Do you
still,
wanna
if you have that money, I still have to go on that 8-hour flight. I don't want to go to Spain.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
first class though.
Yeah.
Like,
Private,
that'd be
flying
great.
private.
I don't mind that at all.
Flying private. Yeah.
It's
No,
fun.
If you do that with $10 million, you're gonna run out in 5 years.
Yeah.
I love that your example. You're like flying home from Calgary. I was just
No,
like,
not Calgary. I was in, where was I this weekend? Colorado.
okay,
It wasn't that far.
3 hours? Is
But
that
like
what that is?
Toronto, Philly, Albany, Rochester, like you got to take these, maybe not Toronto, but Albany, like it's impossible to get to Albany.
Well,
so you're like traveling the whole day. Like I'd rather just, boom, I'm back in bed.
I love it. Like that's your example. My first thought was like, yeah, to be able to save the 30-minute drive home from White Rock would be awesome.
That's what a
And you're-
treat.
Yeah.
You're thinking about coming home from Albany.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough
Well, we got to put a
travel
numerical value on it.
for the transportation.
100 million.
No.
No, it has to be like what percentage of your income? How about that?
I'd probably, yeah, that's a good question.
That's a better way of putting it.
I don't know. I'd have to think.
I'd give up.
I'd rather like struggle I'd rather struggle and have to fly like normal people than give up a percentage of my
Well,
salary.
you wouldn't need a
every-
car, right? Like,
I would go probably 8 to 12%.
Yeah, like that seems reasonable. I was gonna say like 10 to 15. So
So
yeah,
WestJet, you're hearing us. If you've ever figured this out,
yeah, teleportation. Sign me up. Do you see? There's speaking of airlines, not anymore crashes, but I keep seeing this this guy. He bought like I don't know if it was United or Delta or one of these airlines. Back in like the 80s, he bought a lifetime flight
package,
pass.
yeah.
That he could fly anywhere whenever he wanted, and he had to pay at the time like $500,000 or something.
that's it?
And he just goes. He's been around the world like 7 times.
He flies like 12 times a year.
His
across
job
the
is to
country.
like travel around basically and be a
Wow.
tourist.
Wow.
Yeah, he went to like China for a dinner. He brought like his buddy to a dinner in China, and then just flew home.
I know, like, I'm saying that's it to $500,000, but like that seems like a crazy low amount for something like that.
I
Lifetime?
probably wasn't even 500,000 back then.
At the
Yeah,
time?
I think Tyler was just
That's a lot
pulling
at
out
the time
numbers.
for
a lot at the
sure.
time.
500 grand at the time. Maybe it was 250, but it wasn't like
Crazy.
it wasn't like crazy.
It wasn't $100 million.
It wasn't $100 million, right? And he's probably flown for much higher than the value of.
Yeah.
So maybe we're
What-
high at 12%.
Maybe.
Who's to say? Okay, last call if you guys want to get anything off your chest, or else I'm wrapping up this episode because Ty Klarner's got a lot of work ahead of him here.
No, but Christian refused to do the spelling bee last week, and people are pissed.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like pissed.
Like I
They said the only reason they watched was for you to do the spelling bee.
that's crazy. But
So
maybe next week.
Last thing for me, and then I'll wrap up. I was telling Delbs this before. My brother listened to the episode, was watching the clips and stuff like that. He's not a lacrosse guy, kind of thing. Doesn't know your guys' relationship. And he texted me over the weekend and was like, what did Delbs do to deserve that? Why is everyone ganging up on him?
He's like, Tino's telling me, you don't know him. He's a shit guy.
yeah, you'd get it if you knew him.
And then 2 episodes later, he gets de-ended and Kenya.
Yeah, not great. All right, Reader, thanks for joining us for episode 3. How'd you find it?
It was good. I thought, yeah, it was awesome. I had no idea what to expect. I never even be talking about lacrosse this much. I thought we'd just be.
Didn't even watch an episode. Just came on.
No, I did. I just been watching the clips. And
Too
they've been
busy,
funny,
guys. Too
so
busy.
Running my own business. So no,
Big business.
yeah,
$100 million.
that's the goal.
All right.
That is the goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
good goal.
Well, congrats on Bowser Originals. That's huge. Everyone make sure you go check that out on Instagram. Again, we can put that in our description as well so everyone knows where to look and go from there. Thank you to our first 2 sponsors of Morning Shootaround, Panam Contracting and Extreme Threads. Again, ad space is available. You can hit us up in the DMs if you are interested in hopping on board in any capacity. We look forward to hearing from you. New episodes every Friday morning. You can find us everywhere you find your podcasts, on YouTube as well. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, give us a rating, all that jazz. Thanks for joining us for another episode, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.